Good morning, students. Hope all of you are fine. But in this lecture also we will continue theme 10, and name of this theme is Displacing Indigenous People. As in previous lecture we read about North America, natives of North America, then their mutual perceptions. With that we also discuss how the native peoples of America they lose their land. So the today's topic, this is about the gold rush and the growth of industries. So why this name is given to this topic, the gold rush? Because there was always the hope that there was gold in North America. In the 1840s, traces of gold were found in the USA, in California. This led to the gold rush when thousands of eager Europeans hurried to America in the hope of making a quick fortune. Actually, they just wanted to change their destiny. That is why they were hurried to America. This led to the building of railway lines across the continent, for which thousands of Chinese workers were recruited. Now, for chasing this gold, the railway lines were constructed. For that, Chinese workers were recruited. The USA's railway was completed by 1870, and that of Canada by 1885. The old nations creep on at a snail's pace, said Andrew Carnegie, a poor immigrant from Scotland who became one of the first millionaire industrialists in the USA. The Republic thunders on at the speed of an express. So according to this person, the old nations, they just getting development, they were just creeping on a snail's pace. Like you must have heard about the simile, as slow like snail. That is why this is given. It means the pace of that in old nation, that was very slow, extremely slow. But the republic, these thunders on a speed of an express. So there was a huge gap between the old nation and this new nation. One reason why the industrial revolution happened in England when it did was because small peasants were losing their land to big farmers and moving to jobs in factories. As you remember, we have read this topic in theme 9, the industrial revolution, that in why industrial revolution was started in England, because at that time all the small farms were connected and those were converted to large lands. So that is why peasant they just lose their land and they move to the cities in search of jobs. So in North America, industries developed for very different reason. There the reason was different. To manufacture railway equipment so that rapid transport could link distant places, and to produce machinery which would make large scale farming easier. So here the reason was all the industries were set up just to manufacture the railway equipment. It means the emphasis on the better transportation so that the far off places would be connected easily. So in this way, industrial towns grew and factories multiplied, both in the USA and Canada. In 1860, the USA had been an underdeveloped economy. In 1890, it was the leading industrial power in the world. Large scale agriculture also expanded. As you know, their extensive agriculture was followed. Vast areas were cleared and divided up into farms. By 1890, the bison had almost been exterminated, thus ending the life of hunting the natives had followed for centuries. Now this wild buffalo, it was just extinct, which hunting was done by the hunters, the native people of America. So in 1892, the USA's continental expansion was complete. The area between the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean was divided up into states. There no longer remained the frontier that had pulled European settlers west for many decades. Within a few years, the USA was setting up its own colonies in Hawaii and the Philippines, and it had become an imperial power. So, this way, North America, it just became a developed nation. Now, the next topic is the constitutional rights. The democratic spirit, which had been the rallying cry of the settlers in their fight for independence in the 1770s, came to define the identity of the USA against the monarchies and aristocracies of the old world. As you know, this North America, Australia, all these areas, these were known as the New World. So it was also very important to them was that their constitution included the individual's right to property, which the state could not override. As they have seen in the old world countries, if we can talk about Russia also, we can talk about the France also, various European countries, if we take example, there the social hierarchy was there, and most of the feudal system was followed. Means basically the feudal system means the power means just to own the land. But now they demanded the constitution which included the individual rights to property. But both democratic rights, the right to vote for representatives to Congress and for the president, and the right to property were only for white men. Daniel Paul, a Canadian native, pointed out in 2000 that the Thomas Paine, the champion of democracy at the time of the war for American independence and the French Revolution, used the Indians as models of how society might be organized. He used this to argue that the Native Americans, by their example, sowed the seeds for the long drawn out movement towards democracy by the people of Europe. It means the seeds were sown by the native people. But in contradiction of that, the right were allotted only to the white people. As you can see, this highlighted box is also given about the Karl Marx. About Karl Marx, he was a communist. He was the great German philosopher, described the American frontier as the last positive capitalist utopia, the limitless nature and space to which the limitless thirst for profit adopt itself. So now the next topic is the winds of change. Now till the 1920s, did things begin to improve for the native people of the USA and Canada? The problem, as we have seen, that there was a vast gap between the native people and the European settlers. The problem of Indian administration, a survey directed by social scientist Louis Merriam and published in 1928, that only a few years before the USA was swept by a major economic depression that affected all its people, painted a grim picture of the terribly poor health and education facilities for natives in reservation. It means till 1928 the condition of native people of America, it was not improved. White Americans felt sympathy for the natives who were being discouraged from the full exercise of their cultures and simultaneously denied the benefits of citizenship. Whether these Americans, better hear this American term, it was used for these European settlers, not for the natives of America. whether they just showed the sympathy but they denied the benefits of citizenship. This led to a landmark law in the USA, the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, which gave natives in reservation the right to buy land and take loans. It means now the native people of North America, they got the reservation and also the right to buy land and take loans. So in the 1950 and 1960, the US and Canadian government thought of ending all special provisions for the natives in the hope that they would join the mainstream. Now they just want to end this discrimination in the American society. So, and this new system was to be called the European culture. But the natives did not want this. In 1954, in the Declaration of Indian Rights, prepared by them, a number of native peoples accepted citizenship of the USA, but on that condition that their reservation would not be taken away and their traditions would not be interfered. And even a similar development occurred in Canada also. In 1969, the government announced that they would not recognize Aboriginal rights. As we know, Aboriginal means that from the origin. This word was used for the native people of America. The natives, in a well organized opposition move, held a series of demonstrations and debates. The question could not be resolved till 1982, when the Constitution Act accepted the existing Aboriginal and treaty rights of natives. So the many details remain to be worked out, and at present, today it is clear that the native peoples of both countries, though reduced so much in numbers from what they had been in the 18th century, have been able to assert their right to their own cultures, and particularly in Canada, to their sacred lands also, in a way their ancestor could not have done in the 1880s. So this way, that is why the name given to this topic is the winds of change, because now these native people, they also got their right. So hope all of you have understood the topic. Thank you and have a nice day.